Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about how you became involved in starring in the movie and what you liked about your character and the overall story for the film as well.
Yeah, of course. So I got involved because one of my friends that I was actually in acting class with a few years ago, Bo Youngblood, she's one of the producers on the movie. So she reached out to me and said, I have this script that we're doing, and I'm interested in you for the character of Ben. Can you read it over and tell me what you think? Are you interested? And I read it over and I immediately was like, I definitely want to do this, mostly because I was really intrigued with the use of technology and how we'd be able to shoot a movie during a pandemic without coming in contact with anyone. That was really interesting to me. And this is before SAG-AFTRA had put out their guidelines for how to do movies. So they presented us with their plan of like, this is how we're going to keep everyone safe. This is how, the daily happenings would happen. And I felt like everything was really safe and I loved the story. And I was like, I want to be a part of this.
Mhm. And speaking about figuring out how to shoot the movie, like virtually, or like over like Zoom and that kind of technology as well, and what
Mhm.
was that experience like for you as an actor to maybe get like used to that kind of experience and
Not at all. I mean, usually when you get to a set, you walk in, there's, dozens of people there. The way we shot this is each couple is in a different location. So I shot with my friend Daniel, who plays Liam in the movie. He was the only person I came in contact with the whole movie. So we were all set up on kind of like a Zoom so we could see everyone, but we're all in different locations in Los Angeles. So like one person's downtown, one person's by the beach, one person's in Hollywood, but they have us all connected. And then Will, our director, we all had earpieces that were in our ears, and then he would give us direction that way. So during the whole movie, I saw him one time in passing, but besides that, it was just everything was through the earpiece. And then we had someone that was running the camera, but we never really saw them either. They did it from a separate room.
yeah.
It
Mhm.
was all very, very 2000s technology. It was wild.
And also, speaking about working with Daniel and the rest of the cast, I also wanted to ask about that experience. Like you mentioned, only really working with Daniel in person, and everyone else was on the computer, and how that
Yeah.
experience was like overall as well.
To be honest, when I was prepping for it, I was a little nervous because I was like, we're supposed to play this group of friends and I'm not going to get to meet anyone like in real life. But a couple days before we started shooting, we started doing Zooms together, like just reading the script. And that was a great way to get to know everyone's vibe. And we all got to talk about our characters and our relationships. So once we started shooting, it really felt like we were a group of friends because of the prep work that we did before. So I'm thankful for that. And Daniel and I hit it off immediately. I was so glad to work with him. He's so funny, so
Mhm.
talented. So it felt really natural. And I was honestly shocked by it because I was like, how is this going to work? But it did.
Mhm. And also speaking about kind of like the rehearsal time and really getting to know everyone, what was
Yeah.
that experience like in particular, and really building since like some of the characters that were friends since like high school and really building that
Right.
as well.
Well, I kind of lucked out because my character is kind of like the outsider. Like my boyfriend is the one
Yeah.
that's friends with them.
Mhm.
So I kind of use that acting wise. But we shot the whole thing in like a week really quickly. So the prep work we did beforehand really lended itself very useful and very helpful because we were moving through the script so quickly in those days that I'm glad that we had a chance to get to know each other and we can just jump right in instead of having to like do that whole timid of like figuring someone out. We had already figured each other out and we can just do the performance.
And with your character mainly being in the one location of their apartment, and only mainly like being in like your character was in like kind of like two rooms overall throughout the film, and
Right.
experience like also really being in that one location overall as well.
To be honest, I really enjoyed it as an actor because I like to it in a traditional setting, you show up somewhere and it's like, okay, this is your apartment that you live in, but like you haven't looked around it, you're just like in a space. But since this was the only location we had, we really had a good opportunity to really feel like it was our home, which is something that I really enjoyed. We actually shot in Will's apartment. That's where our location is. And they made, because our characters are in New York in the movie. So it was fun getting to really live in this set for 7 days and really getting to feel like it was almost like another character in the movie for us. You know, it was one thing that made us more grounded and made everything feel that much more real.
And with shooting the movie like on camera, how did that also maybe influence your physicality as the film went on, especially like being in the one apartment, was that experience like something that you enjoyed as well, really figuring out that dynamic as well?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It was definitely a challenge and a learning experience because when you're acting, the first thing you learn is don't look at the camera. In this whole movie, that's where the direction is. We're looking literally straight into the camera. So it was a fun challenge, and it was a great learning experience. Since we could all see each other, and made it a little easier. But it was great, and I would love to do something like this again. I think it's so cool to use the technology that, you know, during a pandemic, Zoom was the thing to keep in contact with people. Like last year, we started shooting this, I think, in like May, June. And my birthday is in April. So the month before that, I had a Zoom birthday party because of the times we were in. So when I got the script, the movie hit home like really hard. I was like, I just did this.
And like you mentioned, shooting mainly within like the 7 days, but were you and your co-stars able to maybe improv at all, or did you mainly stick to the script?
The way Will would do it is we would do a scene the way it was written. And once he was happy with that, like he would give us like redirects or directions in our ear. But once he was happy with that, he would let us do a fun run, which is like 2 runs of just like, you know, we know where point A is and we know where point B is in the scene, but he would let us fill in our own little improv to get there. And it's funny to watch the movie because I'm watching and I'm like, what's that in the script or what's that improv? Like he really did a great job of weaving in some of the little things we said off the cuff into the story, which is really fun to watch. And I think that helps with believing that we're actually a group of friends because we were actually really playing with each other, especially in the first half of the movie before, you know, shit hits the fan. Yeah.
And also, speaking of getting to work with Will as the director and writer of the film, what was that experience like as well, and really collaborating with him?
Really great because most of my credits are TV, and in TV you're kind of sometimes you can be pulled in a lot of directions. Like the director wants this, but the producers want this, and sometimes what they want don't match. But when you're working with someone like Will, who wrote it and is directing it and is a producer on it, it's great to have that one person that's like, this is what I want, and I can just be like, okay. There's no tugging and pulling, so it was way easier to work in this kind of environment. And I loved working with him. He's so great and so dedicated to his work. It was a great time.
Mm-hmm. And while I was watching the film, I also liked the fact that in the beginning, especially like once the night first starts, there are moments of humor before everything really takes a turn. Was that something
Yeah,
you really enjoyed exploring as well, like the more humorous aspects?
absolutely. That was definitely, and I should probably say this, we shot the film actually in order. So we shot it chronologically. So those first couple of days of shooting, doing the lighthearted stuff was really fun for us as a group to play with each other before we got to that point where things kind of twist. It was really fun to like get to know each other in that environment and play and just be joyful. Just it was friends getting together who haven't seen each other in so long. A lot of people can relate to that, especially now.
And as the film goes on, the more humorous moments go into like darker territory and like
Yeah.
really explores like social commentary about what's been happening during the pandemic. And was that something that you also really liked about the script as well, and really delving into that social?
Yeah. When it comes to like thriller movies or horror movies, I feel like the ones that are the scariest are the ones that kind of hit home the most. Like the ones that, oh, this could actually happen. You know what I mean? Like you see a movie about zombies, you leave and you're like, okay, that was scary, but like I'm good. That was kind of a fantasy. But this could happen. This could actually happen. And that was really fun to play. That's one of the most exciting things to me about the whole movie. and it kind of leaves you like, you kind of leave the movie and you're kind of still thinking about it, because it puts you in that position of like, if I was in that position, what would I have done? How would I have made the same decisions they made? Would I have done something different? And I think that's what movies are supposed to do. You kind of put yourself into someone's shoes and you kind of think like, would I have done that? No, I probably would have done it like this. I think our movie does a great job with that. It's great for a viewer.
And I was actually about to ask about that as well. And like each character really relates to really reacts differently to what's going on around them, and
For sure.
that you really enjoyed exploring as well to really showcase like the different.
I may be biased, but I feel like my character Ben is the closest one. Like I feel like as a viewer, people look at my character and are like, he's right. Like he's the one that's like trying to keep everything in order. You know, when they start to get a little crazy on the Zoom, he's the one that like is a little more hesitant, a little more conservative. But like I said, I could be biased, but I feel like Ben is the one that's the most relatable in a sense.
And also, I like there was like a flashback during the scene to like when the characters really started thinking, oh, the pandemic might be over, before like it goes back to the present day. Was that something that you also enjoyed exploring to showcase like how people at different times are really thinking, no, the pandemic may be
over?
over?
Yeah. I mean, when the pandemic hit, I mean, so many people, myself included, were like, okay, it's going to be like a week or two. Here we are still, you know, going step by step to getting things unlocked, you know? So I think it really was very realistic. We didn't know the extent of it, how long it was gonna last. And I think everyone was trying their best to be optimistic. So they were like, nothing like this has happened before. How long could it be? And we learned how long it could be. Pretty long.
With the film now being released like in digital, on digital and in theaters as well, and what's that experience been like of being able to share the movie with audiences, especially on demand, and being able to watch at home as well?
It's been really exciting. You know, when I did the movie, you know, I was concentrating on getting, you know, performing, but after I was like, how are people gonna see it? But you know, with digital and with the cable providers, and even like in some states, theaters are open or they're like outdoor drive-in theaters. So I think it's amazing that there's so many outlets to enjoy projects like this, you know, especially in a time like this where people need some kind of escape or some kind of entertainment. It's great that we've provided so many ways to enjoy it. I think it's awesome. Another plus for technology.
And with the film like leaving off at the ending, it kind of sets up that it may be possible to go back and continue. Would you be interested in maybe doing a sequel or following up and exploring what happened?
I mean, I'm always down. I mean, I think a sequel would be really fun, and if there's anyone who could figure out a fun second chapter to a story like this, it would be Will. So I would be down to try it out for sure. I'd definitely be all ears for that.
And now that this movie's being released, maybe what else do you have coming up? Are you interested in maybe doing another film like this, or what's just coming up next for you?
I would love to do another film. You know, usually I do comedy, and doing something like this was a great experience to try something new. So I would love to keep venturing out and trying different genres, because at the end of the day, it's all storytelling, which is what I love to do. So doing this film honestly was a great step for me personally to be like, okay, well, what else can I try to do? You know what I mean? So I'm just keeping my options open and looking for something that just excites me, no matter what the genre is.
Okay, I think that was me, Leah, but thank you again for taking the time out today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks again.
Yeah, of course. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.